contents and details. 15 minutes, try and make good use of them. Let me start by explaining why we feel it is important that as Linda Mwananchi, we must also give a report on the 10-point agenda. First, we are here to defend Baba's legacy. That is why we are doing this. It is so important for us. And I think it is important for Kenya and those who have been with Baba all along in his quest for a better Kenya. This particular document has Baba's signature. So it is important that people get an accurate, truthful, independent, impartial, and correct report on what is being done about Baba's commitment to Kenyans when he signed the 10-point agenda. We are here to make sure political fraud is not committed on Kenyans in the name of Baba. That is why we are here. We must protect Baba's legacy. That is our duty as members of ODM, as members of Linda Mwananchi, as people who worked with Baba. Secondly, whether it is NADCO or whether it is the 10-point agenda, these documents were made in the name of the people. So there must be a people's report, not what you saw yesterday, a conspiracy of some sort. The people themselves must give a verdict. And what we are going to give here today is the people's report on what they think on the implementation of NADCO and the 10-point agenda. And finally, we all have national values in our constitution. There must be accountability. When leaders make certain public commitments, they must be held accountable. What we are trying to do here is to hold those who signed this to be accountable to Kenyans. So people may ask, how did we get about in compiling this report? What was our methodology? We did exactly what is expected in a situation like this. We had broad surveys, we contacted people by phone, by email, we asked questions, we engaged with the public. What do you think has been achieved on these particular issues? NADCO had 10 points, 10-point agenda had 10 points. So Kenyans have given us feedback. It is this feedback that we are now communicating to the rest of the world so that people can understand this. We looked at government records. We reviewed records in parliament, which bills have been passed that were supposed to be anchored on either NADCO or on the 10-point agenda. We looked at what has happened in the executive. How are they conducting executive business? Are they complying with the 10-point agenda? We looked at the judiciary. What decisions have been made in terms of the rule of law and constitutionalism? And we looked at the reports of other independent organizations, especially those in the civil society like Oxfam and the rest of them. So what we are presenting to you here is not something we just sat somewhere and created. It is a product of a consultative process, a scientific process, and with very good methodology. Now, how does our report relate to what was released yesterday? Let me start by telling you people the joke of the miniskirt. How do you define a miniskirt? A miniskirt should be long enough to cover the subject matter, but short enough to arouse interest. So if you look at what was launched yesterday, it is inimically short on substance. In fact, Mheshimiwa Obadia Barongo and Clive Gisario here was laughing at their report on leadership and integrity. And since we are not propagandists, we are just people who like to give people correct information. If you look at their report on page 13, this is the report on leadership and integrity. It has 2 paragraphs. First paragraph has 15 words. Second paragraph has 35 words. 50 words on leadership and integrity. So their report is short on imagination. It is short on facts, short on truth. It is basically something that is designed to mislead and misinform. If you look at ours, you can count the words for yourself, the paragraphs, so that you get an accurate representation of what it is. Secondly, we are here to separate facts from fiction. There was a lot of fiction yesterday. And we want Kenyans to get involved in politics with facts. So we will present to you the facts, and you make your judgment. And we will invite other players, civil society, to make also their own report. So you can compare their report, our report, and the civil society's report, and other people's reports, and your own report and your own judgment as a Kenyan. You must also understand that this particular agenda was time-bound. There were key performance indicators which were to drive the political engagement that was being mooted between UDA and ODM. I use the word mooted informally because it was not yet agreed. Baba had made it very clear there'll come a time when we review the union based on these key performance indicators. Then we decide whether to proceed or to withdraw or to do something else. Yesterday we were being told that this was not time-bound, that this can be implemented ad infinitum until the world ends. And you saw there was a lot of confusion. You didn't know whether UDA was representing a report on their manifesto or they were doing the 10-point agenda. You didn't know where it started and where each ended. So we will not allow them to corner us, that they set their own exam, they write their own exam, they mark their own exam, they award themselves marks. We cannot allow them. That does not happen. So we are here as the people to give them a record. Now, this report, I'll just give you some highlights, and I'll not go into details because they'll all be presented. But let's take the issue of audit of the 2022 presidential elections, what we called opening the server. There was an item like that. No work has been done on that. To date, people are asking IEBC, and we are asking them again here. If you do not address the issue of technology, not just the technology itself, but whoever supplies that technology for purposes of the next general elections, then what have you achieved? That was here. It has not been done, and they were too afraid to address it there. Nobody talked about it, opening of the servers. Did you hear anything about that? Confidence in the IEBC. They bragged that IEBC has been reconstituted. But ask yourself the question, has the new IEBC inspired confidence in the people of Kenya? When there are questions on how the selection process was done, when there's ultimate suspicion of close personal and other connections between those who are put into IEBC and those who are holding high offices in government and influential positions even in ODM, there are issues that must be addressed. So we wish IEBC well, and we are going to support IEBC. But we cannot bury our heads in the sand that there are no credibility questions. So we need to discuss these things. The cost of living crisis. They talked a lot about cost of living crisis. But I want to ask you and ask Kenyans, do you feel better off today than you were 3 years ago? That is a question they ought to have answered there. Does your shilling buy you more today or less than it did 3 years ago? Those are the questions that people and wananchi want to know. We don't want to be told the inflation has dropped from here to here. When the inflation was up here, the cost of goods went up to that point. They've not come down. The incomes have not grown. So don't tell us about inflation, exchange rate, and all those things. The fundamental question, are Kenyans better off today than they were 3 years ago? And the answer to that is no. Compensation for victims of police brutality during demonstrations. It's not been done. We are told there'll be 2 billion. In the supplementary budget, it will be brought to the House. We will pass it. Who knows how they arrived at the 2 billion? Who knows the number of the victims? Who decided that a broken leg is worth this? Who decided that when you are raped, this is a compensation you should get? Who debated those issues? We don't know. The Victims' Compensation Fund has not been activated. We know that. What about justice? What about accountability? Yeah? Where is that question? Nobody talked about it because to them, you beat somebody, you maim them, you rape them, you dismember them, then you give them cash. And then you tell them. And then they made a very curious statement that we need a law to protect victims of demonstrations. Where on earth? The Constitution already guarantees it. We don't need another law. That was euphemism for bringing a law to regulate demonstrations. Yeah? You heard that. So when you look at the report, those are the questions you should ask yourself. Corruption. This government is mute on corruption. They don't talk about it. I challenge you to tell me the last time you had a senior government official talking about corruption. Tell me when. Oxfam's report, in terms of success rate, EACC has the lowest ever since it was constituted in the late 90s, 9% on corruption. They cannot talk about corruption. And I'll give you some basic examples. What just happened recently, which you saw. They leased sugar mills. Didn't they say so? And they told you it will bring efficiency. Did you ever hear of a valuation of the sugarcane that was in the nucleus estate? No. There was no valuation. It is like somebody giving you a supermarket to run full of stock in that supermarket and just telling you, I'll pay you rent for the floor space. Not the stock in the shelves. I hope you're getting me. So they took the nucleus estate of public sugar mills. They are turning it into sugar, selling and getting money. That is open theft. And whoever is doing that, in another 19 months, tutakutana on that issue, because that is theft. It is like walking into a government office and walking out with the chairs. That's what it is. So there are many, many issues. Corruption, nothing is happening. They'll tell you, okay, rule of law, constitutionalism. There is no government in the history of this country whose initiatives have been declared illegal and unconstitutional in the number that this administration has had. Whether they are appointing advisors, illegal. They are appointing cars, illegal. Just go and do a count. No government has had that record. Everything they touch, illegal. This, illegal. That, illegal. So where is constitutionalism? Where is the rule of law? So my friends, we have a lot of work to do, but to basically tell the Kenyans the truth and to ask them that if you truly cared about Raila's legacy, then please, this is not the way to go. This is fraud. This is unacceptable. This is not what Baba wanted. And this is just part of the scheme, to confuse Kenyans. And I hope when they'll have an opportunity to read our report, which is here, they will know the truth. Thank you and God bless you.
Another round of applause for the Honorable Paoli Omondi. Now, at this particular stage, we are going to go thematic. We will hear from members of parliament present here, from Governor Orengo and Senator Ososi. And then we will hear from you as well on your assessment of the report that we are going to present here. So, Honorable Babu, let's start with you. You have 5 minutes, and then we invite the next colleagues.
Thank you very much, SG. God is good. All the time. And all the time. God is good. Thank you. And about the 10-point agenda that was purportedly released yesterday, I want to say that that was just a mere PR exercise. Everything that was released yesterday was all gibberish. It was all balderdash. It was neither important nor detailed. The detailed parts were not important, and the important parts were not detailed. I want to talk about a few issues that I saw. Issues revolving around the 10-point agenda points to a specific thing. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs for the youth, jobs for our women, jobs for our men. This nation, we were promised jobs, that we would get jobs to a tune of around 1 million jobs annually, per year. What are we seeing in return? Just PR exercise. with the issue of the jobs, because of lack of jobs, the youth are going on the streets. Because of lack of jobs, our people are suffering. People are opposing this government simply because there are no jobs that we are supposed to give to our youth, men and women in this country. We look at the important things that must be done by this government to create jobs, and they haven't considered any of them. For us to have serious jobs in this nation, we must industrialize. There must be an industrial revolution, industrialization. But the capacity, when we talk about energy as a part of the infrastructure that we have in this nation, the electricity that we produce in this country, the cost is so high. We only produce around 3,800 megawatts that cannot support industrialization in this country. Then the president was telling us that by the year 2040, we should be producing only 2,000 megawatts of electricity by the use of nuclear reactants, nuclear energy. Meanwhile, our neighbor here in Ethiopia, in 2025, launched the Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam. That dam alone is producing 5,150 megawatts of electricity. Kenya itself is importing 400 megawatts of electricity from Ethiopia. That dam contains 74 billion cubic meters, the capacity, and was constructed at a cost of only 4.8 billion US dollars. Then we are being told that in the year 2040, we are expecting nuclear energy at a cost of 500 billion Kenya shillings. The cost, the housing that we are doing, affordable housing, per year we are spending 120 billion Kenya shillings. In 5 years, we'll be spending 600 billion Kenya shillings. Meanwhile, affordable housing is a private good, and the role of a government is not to participate in provision of private goods, but to facilitate consumption of merit goods like education and health, and also provide public goods like roads. So you wonder, where is our priority? Where did we go wrong as a nation? That what we want to achieve in 2040, Ethiopia has already achieved by 2025. So therefore, when it comes to issue of handling jobs in this nation, we are not ready. Electricity is very costly in this nation as compared to East African countries. So without that proper energy as part of the infrastructure, we cannot create jobs. And because of that, the youth will continue rising, and the youth will continue demanding for what is rightfully theirs. Lastly, on the issue of the public debt, we were being told so many things about public debt. Everything that was mentioned about public debt yesterday is completely out of place, is completely mere statements of puff and misrepresentation of facts. Yesterday, when they were talking about debt, we know very well that our Constitution in Article 229, Sub-Article 4, Paragraph G, gives the Auditor General the mandate to audit the public debt. And it states clearly that every 6 months after every financial year, the Auditor General shall audit our public debt. What happens in our nation? The system, the government, does not allow the Auditor General to audit our public debt. What is happening in our public debt? Right now, we have a debt of 12.3 trillion Kenya shillings. Out of that, 6.8 trillion is the domestic debt. Then 5.5 trillion is the foreign debt. Then every year we are paying 2.3 trillion as debt. The problem is not taking a debt. We all know all this from the economists who are here, that a debt is not a problem. But what you do with that debt is what is the problem. We borrow money for personal consumption. We borrow money for recurrent expenditure. We borrow money to loot as a nation. And the moment you loot that money, that debt becomes unproductive debt. The debt that we have is not productive. And therefore, we are not even creating jobs, because the moment we make the debt be productive, then we shall be creating jobs with that debt. A child born today in 2026 is born with a debt of 200,000 Kenya shillings, approximately. Therefore, where are we headed as a nation? Because we are still going to borrow more money just to waste. And therefore, my scorecard on a scale of 0 to 10, I want to say that the government has scored -1. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Babu. Honorable Undo, 5 minutes, please, so that we can engage the... Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. When I listened yesterday and what I read yesterday, it was a sad day for Kenya. It was a sad day for the followers of Raila Amolo Odinga. It was a sad day for Raila Amolo Odinga, wherever he is. What I saw yesterday was actually a praise and worship of the king at State House. It's such a shame that ODM leadership can stoop that low to go and praise the president for doing nothing. I do not know what they have been fed on since Baba Raila Amolo Odinga departed on the world. Let me focus on the economic issues. They keep on gloating that the economy is expanding, the economy is growing. But truth be told, the Kenyan economy has remained stagnant all the 3.5 years President Ruto has been in the office. When you look at the statistics of the Kenya National Bureau of Standard Statistics, clearly indicates nothing has changed. The poverty level nationally has remained about 38% out of the total population of the Republic of Kenya. There is this issue they keep on pontificating all over about the reduction in inflation rate. Kenyans, and this is where the lie lies. And it's about data produced by a credible institution, their own data, and that one of other international agencies. They keep on telling us that inflation has dropped from 9.6 to 4-point-something. That's what they keep on telling you all the time. But the truth of the matter, there's something you call non-core inflation. That encompasses food, energy, and transport. And this data is available all over. As at the end of December 2025, the rate stood at 10.1%. 10.1%. So the true inflation that affects the common mwananchi stood at 10.1% against the lies we keep on being told 4.5%. We are being told that the economy has stabilized and has grown. And as my colleague Babu has said, how many youths have been employed? What has been the reduction in the level of unemployment? How many people are working? And what has been the change in the disposable income for the last 3 years? Many Kenyans, when you look at your pay slip, those who are lucky to have a pay slip, you can see how emaciated, how mutilated it has been from 2022 to 2026. Kenyans, the lies are becoming just too much and unbearable. As a country, as a generation, we cannot allow these lies to continue. On the issue of securitization that have been told us, you have heard what the Office of Auditor General has spoken about Talanta Stadium. What is happening in the sports fund, the blatant looting, exaggeration of the cost of the Talanta Stadium to a whopping 10 billion, where the money has been lost. Much more is going to be lost at Bomas of Kenya. Much more we are going to see in these other funny grandiose projects they are going to set up. And for record purposes, and this we have said and repeat to say, Securitization is debt of record. That's the fact of the matter. It's debt of record. So the debt level of Kenya could even much, much more than the 12.5 trillion they keep on telling us, which again is above the threshold set under the PFM Act. So honorable Kenyans, be vigilant, keep your eyes wide, and we pray for the soul of Raila Amolo Odinga. Please reincarnate and save this country. Thank you.
Asante sana. Mheshimiwa Kibagendi.
Thank you, my SG. And I'm indeed proud to be associated with this wonderful team. People who truly mind about our country. I would like to speak initially on issues to do with the in the 10-point agenda. One of the issues we wanted tackled is the issue of protection of rights to assembly. You realize we are in political competition, and we need to have what I can call a dignified political competition. We, however, have realized each time we try to assemble, or each time we have a rally or a function anywhere in the country, this fearful legion of looters have continued to try and disorganize us. They even send goons to our meetings. And this has happened not just to our team, any other kind of assembly of other politicians, including the United Opposition, for which we would like to tell this regime that it is high time on this particular one. We are giving you, like Babu Owino said, -1. For me, I'll give you 1 on the protection of rights to assemble. The other thing I would like to talk about is corruption. And focus for me will be around the Ministry of Health and SHA. You realize this is an area I've given a lot of attention, and you have seen me even at one point have a very intense altercation with the architect of corruption in that ministry, Honorable Duale. Honorable Duale constantly plays politics with the people of this country. You have seen the Auditor General has given reports not once, not twice, whereby lots of money have gotten lost from SHA. And I am here to tell you that I sit in the Health Committee, and I can confirm that we have a problem. We have a problem in the Ministry of Health, from personnel management all the way to how SHA is being run. We have what we call conflict of interest, particularly from the same architect of this looting, who is one of the chief suppliers in KEMSA. He is a provider of the system that has totally refused to work in SHA. And they are the people who ensure hospitals that do not exist or hospitals that do not offer services are the ones that are paid first. You know, this regime is allergic to truth. And that is why when I said the other day that Parliament has been auctioned, and I'm saying it here again, and those who have a moment, please talk to Honorable Tangula, Senior Counsel. I saw Honorable Tangula go when you are having the LSK elections. The gentleman does not even realize he needs to have a practicing certificate to be able to vote. And he's here coming with what I can call Bukusu Diskomatanga rules to use them in Parliament for issues, things I've said outside Parliament. We need to have a Parliament that protects wananchi, a Parliament that fights corruption. We have a Parliament that is enhancing
corruption in this country in the sense that they have aided the executive to do the wanton looting that you are seeing today. My colleague has spoken about the stadium, Talanta Stadium, and many other projects. And recently, again, on corruption, believe you me, Parliament handed over an opportunity to the executive to a point of, is it 5 trillion Kenya shillings? They call it infrastructure fund, but I call it pocket money for them to use in the coming election. But I believe Kenyans understand and know what they actually want. The other thing I would like to talk, before I finish on corruption, and that is why I'm asking Kenyans. On the issue on Ministry of Health, we need to go hard, particularly on this CS, Adan Duale, who keeps chest thumping, that is the one who gave the EACC CEO the job he has today. He gave the job, you realize they are kinsmen, and the person who is at DCI, and hence you realize EACC is busy being used to deal with politicians who do not agree with this regime that is allergic to truth. They recently sent me a letter, SG, to my NGCDF because I do not agree with them. They sent a letter to the fund manager, and they are not specific, even on the specific project they want to look at. They are on a fishing expedition, and it is Duale who is instigating this. It is Duale, and it is because I will continue. I will not be intimidated. I'll continue talking about the corruption in SHA. We will not stop. And I'm calling upon Kenyans. It is high time, including the TikTokers. Let us aggressively pursue this issue of corruption in SHA. Now, to finish, I've heard the president throw around numbers about the number of people that have been employed in government. 1 minute, he says there are 250,000 people employed in Mujengo, as if every Kenyan is a fundi. He again goes on to say he has exported close to 400,000 young people to work, particularly in the Middle East. But one time, together with some journalists, we decided to do an audit of the number of people who have actually exited this country to go abroad for work. Because when you go for work, you get a work visa. The number does not get to even 89,000. It is about 88,000 plus a few hundreds. But we keep allowing, and particularly to the media, we need to be more concerned about these numbers. Let us ask them to show us how many people have actually gone to Saudi Arabia, how many people have gone to Dubai, how many people are in Qatar, so that we get the right numbers. We should not allow this regime to continue lying to us about the number of people who've been given opportunity to work, whether it is locally or even abroad. I truly appreciate this opportunity, SG, and let us continue. Let us ensure we are fearless, and we must confront this monster. Thank you.
Asante sana. There are 2 more members of parliament who will speak, then we go to the next category of speakers. I will have the Honorable Barongo come on stage, please.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Sifuna. My contribution on this topic today would be to speak about on point number 10, which is promoting sovereignty of the people and rule of law and constitutionalism. Now, dear Kenyans, I'm sure you have read in the sections of the media something that I would call passports gate. Kenya has been able to issue a passport to a gentleman related to a war general in a neighboring country. this has removed the neutrality that Kenya has had for a very long time in diplomatic circles. This action, if the country that we infringe with decides that they are going to take an action that is detrimental to our country. For example, you understand that these neighboring countries also import our tea. Now, if they decide to ban left alone, and the neutrality that we for a long time enjoyed will disappear. Kenyans going into other countries will now go through a multiple layer of security checks, which we did not have previously. Does this really help Kenyans, or it leaves us poorer than we used to be? Now, also on the right to peaceful assembly, just this morning, the state again has sent goons to this venue to come and interrupt what I believe is a constitutional undertaking. A government that knows what it is doing should not be afraid of a peaceful assembly of people where we are just going to contribute to a discourse that is meant to make our country better. During our Linda Wananchi rally at Kitengela, there's a gentleman called Vincent Ayomo who was killed. What has happened? What has the government done since that loss? And as we are heading into an election, what should we expect from this government? Are Kenyans optimistic that this government is going to create an environment in which Kenyans will exercise their full rights of choosing the leaders that they desire to push this country forward? On the point around promoting and protecting young people, how does bullying wakina Zuena here when they are creating content help them? How is that creating an environment in which a Kenyan is supposed to exercise their right to oversight their own government? And how about what we are seeing the government doing, which is evicting young people from spaces in which they are doing gainful business activities to provide for their livelihoods? How does that leave Kenyans better off? What we are seeing here and what we saw yesterday is a government that is engaged in self-glorification, is a government that is out of touch with the reality. We might say all of these things that we want to say here this morning, but the fundamental question we should ask ourselves is, are we better off? Are we better off? I can speak personally about my payslip. This government takes a lot of money from my payslip. It is an amount of money which, if I had, would today be employing more than 6 people on a minimum wage. How am I supposed to be happy about that? For this and other reasons, and the contributions that my colleagues have made, we want to ask Kenyans not to be defeated in their minds, to maintain the vigilance at an individual level. As leaders, we can say whatever it is that we want to say here, but as Kenyans, we must decide that we want better for our country. And if we do that, we will be very ready to die standing than to die kneeling. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. At this stage, I want to apologize for the gender monotony. There is a reason. Our colleagues in Parliament of the female gender have found themselves in a very tough situation. They are the focus of all sorts of intimidation from political parties. In fact, if you remember, there is a senator who was kicked out of Senate just because she appeared at a rally for the united opposition. That's not to say they are not with us. You will be very surprised. When the time comes, they will come out. When it is safe, we are creating an environment where it will be safe for everyone to come out. So, lastly, the Member of Parliament, Clive Gisairo, please 5 minutes, then we go to the next round. In the next round, you will see some bold young women who no one can threaten. They will also be speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll stick to the 5 minutes, having gone to Alliance. So, firstly, I think we need to close this country for renovation. And while doing renovation, we'll start the cleanup from State House, because that's the heart of the mess of this country. One of the 10-point agendas was to stop wastage of public resources and promoting government efficiency. Listening to them yesterday, the first thing they said in stopping wastage was doing away with the spouses and all those shenanigans. You cut on spouses, but your State House budget goes up to 17 billion. I do not need to make public what I give my wife. I just need to get it for myself, and wife is taken care of. And that's what they are doing. We are not fools, and we are not going to be fooled. The young people are up to the task, and they are going to take everyone on. When you cancel foreign travel, as you said, and then you ensure the Kenya Air Force helicopter never lands. Actually, it's a touch and go for refueling. That is not cutting cost on travel. You just moved foreign and turned your counties to be the foreign nations. So when you're moving from this county, the next minute you're in the next county. And then we say we are cutting travel costs. We are not. We've actually ballooned travel costs. Tell me when you never heard of that helicopter for 72 hours, landing somewhere in this country. What's the cost of keeping a helicopter on the air? Nowadays, the pilots of that plane are most known faces other than the aide-de-camp of the president. We talked about promoting and protecting the livelihoods of the young people. We don't know this government what exactly we'll make reference to. Will it be the Hustler Fund, which none of us knows the results, the outcome, how many youth it has benefited? Can they be paraded somewhere? We see them. Or does any one of you know any? Are we going to talk about the empowerment program? Whose funding we didn't know it was coming from? Our colleagues in Parliament were all over the place with empowerment programs, spending billions of funds that nobody knows the source and the intended outcome of those level of tokenisms. Today, we are now riding on a World Bank-funded project called Nyota. It has been politicized. Why will you need to take a chopper to go launch 22,000 shillings? How crazy can you get? You know, you can be holding a doctorate degree, you can be a doctor by title. After all, can he have a photo of his classmates? We don't know where some of these titles are gotten from because the acts and actions do not reflect the title and the degrees you claim to hold. These are some of the small things that are angering the young people of this nation. And we want the anger to grow. We want the anger to manifest into serious temper. If ikiwezekana, hasira ya Mkisii is now allowed in all Kenyans. We've been having the issues of teacher employment. Oh, we've employed 100,000 teachers. Cut us some crap. While the CBE, or CBC, whatever the name is, was formulated over 11 years ago, that is when those teachers' opportunities were created. Because junior school was going to be there, you like it or not, and teachers had to be employed. So stop riding on things that were automatic. Even if we were to have a madman in that house, I'm not saying the one who is there is not mad, the same thing was going to happen. So we need to have a bigger discussion, a discussion that talks of facts and things that are actually new, creating opportunities for the young people. Yes, Talanta Stadium is good. But where will you get the talent to go to that Talanta Stadium if the stadiums in the villages are not anything to talk about? In my own county, we don't have a single stadium. So how do I promote and donate someone to come to play at Talanta Stadium? We are getting it wrong because we are so focused on not being Kenyans, but being Singaporeans. We need to be Kenyans. We need to fix the Kenyan problem. For those of us who want to be in Singapore, nowadays, if Singapore Airlines does not land in JKIA, we'll get it some hours to land there, pick some of them and go. When we're talking about protecting and strengthening devolution, they don't even know the number. They launched and said in the shareable revenue this year, they're going to get 450 billion. While I sat in parliament, it's 420 billion. How do you get it wrong with 30 billion? Hata kama hesabu ilikushinda daktari. 30 billion is quite a big gap to get it wrong. Next time, get it wrong with 2 billion. And on the same thing on devolution. Choose whether you are national government or county government. Our governors are being coerced to get into agreements, into marriages that are actually not healthy. We've seen the national government going to launch things that will be done by county governments, not just what you saw about Nairobi. Now, I was in the same year with Sakaja. And I get embarrassed sometimes. But we keep praying for him, that he gets some strength to be able to stand. Otherwise, another governor is coming. I can see him here. Someone with some steel balls to take charge some of these things. The infrastructure fund that they are clearly pushing through, you know, the project is supposed to be identified. If you look at the bill, taken to some board, go to cabinet, come back to parliament, and then the whole thing is actualized. Yesterday already, Mr. Board, Mr. Cabinet, Mr. Parliament already allocated the funds. He said 15 billion to the airport. He's already allocating the fund. He's already ahead of us. And that is why this country will not go anywhere. Because the advised is the advisor. He's the implementer. He's the oversight. I pity my colleagues who've chosen to be in a great choir that sings more praises than they do on Sunday and Saturday. I pity you because you do not represent these people. And we'll stand. No one should tell you that we'll be cowed. No one. Sisi tuko tayari. We live by that spirit of Baba. Sisi tuko tayari. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Makofi ya Mheshimiwa Clive Gisairo. I think he has spoken very well. Before I call the next speaker, I just want to recognize a few leaders who are in the house. Kennedy Odhiambo Odis, thank you very much. Ahmed Khalif Amedo. Simama watu wakuone. Tom Madanje yuko wapi? Thank you sir. Mheshimiwa David Ayoi yuko na sisi hapa. Mheshimiwa Caroline Mayunzu yuko hapa. Kijana mdogo Brayo Yobra yuko hapa. Nimeambiwa Paulino Woko yuko somewhere. I've not seen her. Can she stand? Oh yes. Thank you for coming. The TikTok buddy is in the house. She'll come on stage kidogo aongee. Mheshimiwa Alex Matere is in the house. Kennedy Akidiva yuko hapa. Nimeona chairman wa ODM Nyandarua County. Anaitwa Dickson Manyara. Kuna chairman mwingine? Aya, kuna student president hapa wa UN, anaitwa Valerie Sitawa. Mheshimiwa Rais, karibu sana. Chairperson wa ODM Young Captains, utafutwa leo, Juliet Osundwa yuko wapi? We want, hawa ni wale hawezi kutishwa. Wale watu hawezi kutishwa wako hapo. Asante sana. Aya, kuna UN Young Captains student leader Ian Brandon, ako hapa. Karibuni sana, asanteni sana. There are more names I'm being given. Youth leaders wetu wa ODM naambiwa wako hapa, ndio wanadumisha amani. Jaribu kuleta mchezo, utajua ujui. Haya, tusikize Mheshimiwa Senator Osotsi, Senator wa Vihiga, ambaye pia ni Deputy Party Leader wa chama cha ODM. Karibu sana.
Good morning, everyone. Let me start by saying that I'm very happy this morning because when I was seated there going through the two documents, the one prepared by this Kenya Kwanza government and the other one prepared by Linda Mwananchi, I could see that indeed Linda Mwananchi is the government in waiting. Because if you look at what these people released yesterday, then you wonder what they had been doing for a whole year. And in fact, one of the resolutions of this gathering should be that Senator Zani-led committee should be surcharged for spending public money and doing nothing. But let me say this. During the funeral of our late party leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, I was given a chance to address the gathering. And I said that the greatest gift William Ruto was to give to Raila Amolo Odinga was not offering him a state burial, but implementation of the 10 points agenda. It is sad that more than 3 months after Raila was put to rest, our president has done nothing. Instead, yesterday, he paraded himself there to talk about what he has achieved, which was full of lies as a president, but not the specific issues in the 10 points agenda. I am happy today, wherever he is listening to us or watching us, he can see we are now telling him what he should have done. Let me now go to the issues. Let me start by devolution. Strengthening devolution. I heard them talk yesterday, how they are dispersing enough funds in time to counties. And it is sad that I saw a group of governors there clapping. When they know the truth, Governor Orengo is here, he will tell you. Senator Sifuna is here, he will tell you. Counties go for 3-4 months without disbursement from the national government. And they were seated there clapping to the falsehood that they get money in time. In the 10 points agenda, Raila wanted our counties to get a minimum of 450 billion shillings. But that 450 billion shillings was tied to the financial year 2024-2025. But 2024-2025, we got less money. The following year, which was financial year 2025-2026, instead of giving us 450 billion, which the senators had pushed hard, they gave us 415 billion, less by 35 billion. Now, 2026-2027, contrary to what William Ruto was telling us yesterday, we have now just processed the budget policy statement. It is talking of 420 billion shillings. Yesterday, the National Assembly passed the Division of Revenue Bill with 420 billion. So why is this man lying to us in daytime that he's going to give us 450 billion when In the BPS, it is 420. When in the division of revenue bill, it is 420. See you in Mwongo. Still on devolution. He promised Kenyans that all devolved functions shall be transferred. We are sitting here. Instead of him transferring functions to counties, he is taking over the functions of counties. You can see this stampede to build the markets in our counties. Those markets are not built by governors. They are built by William Ruto using revenue from housing levy. We are seeing the so-called industrial park, and this is going to be a white elephant in our counties. Who is doing it? National government. So we are far off from implementing devolution. And in fact, devolution has suffered under William Ruto. The other issue is on electoral justice. And this was one of the issues identified in the NADICO report. And it was very clear. And you remember we went out to protest to say, open the servers. Open the servers. NADICO recommended that we have an audit of election systems. What has happened so far? Nothing. Even the recommendation to set up a committee of experts from ODM and from Kenya Kwanza. ODM presented a name of retired Attorney General Amos Wako to that committee of experts. UDA or Kenya Kwanza has not even submitted their name. And now, we are now being told that the company that was involved in election malpractice, Smartmatic, was irregularly brought back just before Marijan left. Just before Marijan left, they extended their contract. So nothing has been done so far on that. And that, William Ruto did not speak anything. On the matter of youth, promoting and protecting the livelihood of young people, I want to say that the gift that this government should have given the youth of this country is to implement the provision of Article 100 of the Constitution. They have not done anything on that. They told us about hustler. They are no longer talking about hustler nowadays. Instead, for conveniency, they have jumped onto Nyota program. They are now moving around the country saying we have brought Nyota. Nyota is a World Bank program. William Ruto should tell us what he has done for the young people of this country. Even hustler now, no one knows how much money has been raised, who is borrowing. It is a fraud. Lastly, on the issue of the right to assemble, you have seen for yourself. Even today in the morning, they wanted to disrupt this assembly by bringing goons. You have seen what they have done to our meetings. That one, we cannot even talk about it in terms of implementation. Because now even this government is now relying on goons to deal with the political opponents. And this is how Haiti started. And now Haiti is a big problem. So we are saying on this one, nothing has been done. And this team is going to join the Gen Zs during the June anniversary. Now, on the issue of compensation of victims of police brutality, I want to agree with Mheshimiwa Omondi that how did they arrive at an arbitrary figure of 2 billion? How did they cost it? Because we are told over 250 youth were killed. How did they arrive at 2 billion? How did they do the assessment? We also have so many of our youth who are languishing in prison. Even as we talk about a deal between ODM and UDA, our youth are in prison. Our youth are facing court cases, and there is no one to represent them there. How are we going to deal with that? And we reject compensation without justice. There can never be compensation without justice. What happened to those police officers who killed our youth at Parliament? Police officers who killed our youth during Azimio demonstration. Some of them are known. What happened to the police officers who are involved in extrajudicial killings and abduction? The deputy IG, whom they said they had suspended, is back in office. And he was involved, or accused to have been involved, in the issue of Albert Ojwang. So, Kenyans, I hope you are listening. I hope you listen to the lies that were made to us. But we are here to say, we will pursue the dream of Raila Amolo Odinga, which is envisaged in the 10 points agenda to the end. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Now I want to invite on stage the last leader from our side, the governor for Siaya, the Honorable James Orengo. And as he comes, there's names have been given here. The youth leaders led by Daddy are in the house. Daddy Okumu is from the Great North. Mandela, Evanso, Balotelli, Fanon, Eriko, Mbule, Engineer Pete, yuko hapa. Na director wa CMD, Frank Mukwanja, has joined us here. Mpige makofi. Asante sana.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen and comrades. I'll be very short, and I don't intend to look at any particular subject in the 10-point agenda. But I want to begin by saying this. This document that was released yesterday is a fraud. This document is a fraud. And it is a shame that the largest party in the Republic of Kenya, purportedly, because I still recognize Edwin Sifuna as the Secretary General of ODM, not still, but the Secretary General of ODM, with state power and all the resources. They even lack the content to fill the pages. A lot of these pages have no content at all, and it's a big shame to them. Now, in giving my remarks, I want to refer to 3 great documents in history. One is the American Declaration of Independence of 1776, which was largely written by Thomas Jefferson. And the other document, which was written 13 years later, is the Declaration of the Rights of Man, which was drafted by a famous Frenchman, Lafayette, but with some assistance from Thomas Jefferson. And thirdly is the Kenyan Constitution. These are 3 great documents, and in a moment I'll tell you why I'm referring to these documents. If you look at what has happened to the 10-point agenda, you ask the question, what is to be done? I think essentially this is a question that we must confront. Now, the 10-point agenda, in my view, was a ceasefire document. It was written at a time when Kenyans were out demanding for their rights, and the youth particularly were out demanding their rights in the context of what was happening in Kenya at that time. And then came the NADCO report and the 10-point agenda. It was a ceasefire document. It was telling Kenyans, hold fire. And we're holding fire for this 10-point agenda to be implemented. And you've been given a record of the implementation of the 10-point agenda. And I agree with many who have spoken before. I will give them also -1. I think that's, I agree with Babu. I agree with Babu on that one. Now, in the Declaration of Independence, which was written in 1776 by Thomas Jefferson, he brought in the notion, and America was being created as as a democracy. And he, in that document, he wrote in plain English words that rebellion is justified if there's contempt for the rights of the people, that a people are right, to go to rebellion when their rights were violated. The same thing with the Declaration of Rights of Man, and he said, if I may just read something in this, lawyer Firoz Norji used to like quoting this particular verse in the Declaration of the Rights of Man, written in the year 1789. And this was written by the National Assembly that was convened in 1789. The representatives of the people of France formed into a National Assembly, considering that ignorance, forgetfulness, and I emphasize the word forgetfulness, or contempt of the rights of man are the sole causes of public misfortunes and corruptions of governance. Now, if you look at these two documents, they have a resemblance in terms of content to the preamble to the Kenyan Constitution, to the preamble to the Kenyan Constitution. And the Kenyan Constitution talks about we the people, we the people. Now, the big problem in Kenya is about the presidency. If you look at the 10-point agenda, the major complaint is about the institution of the presidency. We have in Kenya today an imperial presidency. That's why there's a lot of complaints about abuse of power, extrajudicial killing, abductions, violation of the freedom of assembly and the right to demonstrations, and many other governance issues. So the biggest problem we have in Kenya today is the institution of the presidency itself, full stop. If we can do something about the institution of the presidency and bring it back to what it should be according to the Constitution, then we'll be dealing with many of the problems that we have today. And me, what I can just say in a word, that the report yesterday was a call to action. It was a call to action. It was a call to action. It was a call to action. And that action is not going to be taken by governors, by members of parliament, by representatives in the various assemblies. It will be taken in the words of the Constitution, we the people. That is why the Kenyan Constitution talks about sovereignty is vested on the people of Kenya. And I can tell you, the hour has come. The hour has come. It is not 2027. It is now. The hour has come. This is the time to begin the process of bringing change to Kenya, a transformation. And that is not going to be done by Parliament, because our institutions have been emasculated. The courts cannot really drive change. It is going to be done by the people. So the only advice I can give, and I'm prepared for this, and when I sleep, I'm very comfortable in my mind that Kenyans must come out now, not next year, not tomorrow, not next week, to claim their country together. If it takes another month, another 6 months, it will be more difficult. And I can tell you, when the people are united together, nothing can stop us from achieving our goals. So I plead with you that in the first phase, we must recapture the party called ODM. This is the first phase of the struggle. We must make sure that ODM as a part of the people must be reclaimed by the people. And we are lucky that the Secretary General is with the people. And the deputy party leader also is with the people. And you are all with the people. After reclaiming our party back, state capture, from state capture, the second stage is to begin organizing. Because the ceasefire is over. The ceasefire is over. And I can tell you there is no way we can have free and fair elections until people come out en masse to determine what type of elections we're going to have. If you leave it to Kasongo the way I see it, and with the constitution of IEBC, it will still be lamentations next year. So the hour has come, the time is now. Let us go out and reclaim our country back. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A round of appreciation to all the people who have spoken so far. We are doing not too well on time, but we will try and manage that. I want to clarify, make it very clear that I am the supervisor that the president was talking about yesterday of this, the implementation of the MOU. I wrote it. I know it by hand. He didn't read it because I'm the one who took it to him. He didn't read it. So I am the one who will supervise the implementation of that MOU. And I was made supervisor by my boss, Raila Amolo Odinga. If you want him to fire me as a supervisor, you talk to him. He's in Bondo. Yeah. So we are the ones who know what the spirit of this document is. And as the governor has said, there is no longer any document binding us with UDA. It expired on the 7th of March. We have said that that extension is illegal. And therefore, nobody can tell us that there is any other relationship that we have. I also watched with a lot of consternation that people would sit in that room and just listen to blatant lies and clap, actually. We want to remind those governors as senators, because they always come to us, Governor Orengo, saying, oh, Sifuna, you and the Senate must push for more resources for us. And then they can sit there. They come and even complain that the disbursements never follow the disbursement schedule that is passed by the Senate, that they are 3-4 months behind in their allocation. Then the president is lying in your presence, saying that disbursements are up to date, and you are there just seated clapping, waiting for Sifuna to defend you. You know, some of these things, Governor, they don't make any sense. Devolution is under threat. I will just mention a few things that have already been mentioned. It is a blatant lie. They brought a document called a budget policy statement. We processed it. The figure there is 420 billion in this financial year. A paltry 5 billion shillings extra for devolution from 415 billion in the last financial year. And then you as a governor, having read that document, knowing your members of parliament in the National Assembly have already passed the division of revenue at 420. Somebody is telling you they will give you 450, and you are clapping. I think the problem in Kenya is worse than we thought. There is a very big problem somewhere. Now, let me tell you about my own seat in Nairobi. Baba's intention was to make sure that every function that is designated as a devolved function is actually devolved to the counties. The national government continues to hold functions that they have no business holding. And as Ososi has said here, instead of honoring the legacy of Mzee, because Baba was called the father of devolution, by ensuring that we actually fully devolve all these functions, the county government, the national government is actually snatching responsibilities of a county government. They spoke about the 80 billion that he likes to throw around saying he's helping Nairobi. First of all, the national government owes Nairobi over 100 billion shillings. All they need to do is to pay us our money. Just pay us our money. Instead of somebody giving you 100 billion, they give you 80, then you clap. There is something fundamentally wrong in this country. Then, Baba was very clear about the existence of these national government institutions doing county functions. For instance, he was very clear that it is time to disband Kera and Kura. They wanted them dissolved, and that money that they used to build roads handed back to the county governments. That has not been done. Finally, as a leader of a political party, I wrote in that MOU that William Ruto's government will respect the identity and integrity of all political parties because we are a multi-party democracy. Because he didn't read it, he doesn't know that it is there. What he has done to my party ODM, I can speak for Baba. Baba will never forgive Ruto for what he has done to ODM. ODM today is unrecognizable. ODM is unrecognizable. We used to be the party that fights for the people. We used to be the ones representing the interests of the people. Can you really see the representation of the people in those dances we are being shown on TV called Leader Ground? And that is the doing of William Ruto. He has supplied resources outside party channels to be able to destroy the party that is ODM. Those of us who still believe that this great institution cannot go down will continue to stand and fight. Some of you, I hear you telling me, oh, Sifuna, leave ODM, you go and form another party. We are not leaving ODM. This party belongs to all of us. We have to fight for this party, bwana. Watuue tu kama watatuua, lakini tutakuwa hapo ndani. Baba hakulea waoga, as I've told you. And we have all contributed to the standing of the party. You cannot tell Karoli to leave ODM. He's the owner of ODM. We are all owners of ODM. All of you who pay taxes. ODM is a taxpayer-funded institution. All of us have a stake. Even if you're not a member of ODM, you have a responsibility to fight for these great institutions of democracy, such as political parties. So therefore, I want to just give a few people from this side. We have had a lot from men in suits. Let us have some female voices as well. And we want to start with the president. You know, there's a president here. Mheshimiwa Rais. Unaweza kupatiwa mic hapo ndio tuende kwa haraka, because if we walk too much, we might take a lot of time. Madam President, you have 2 minutes. You can give us our assessment from the students' perspective, whether indeed you feel that the 10-point MOU has been fully implemented as they told us yesterday.
Morning, everyone. I am Valerie Sitawa, a student at the University of Nairobi. Incoming Madam President, and we must get there. So today is a pleasure, and it's a wow thing that we have been given such a good opportunity to be with our leaders, sit down and discuss about the 10-point agenda. And first of all, I would like to point out to the unemployment part, where His Excellency Mheshimiwa Babu Owino talked about. It's one of the most troubling issue in our country. And as much as we are in the universities, our parents are proud of us, but what is the aftermath? We go to school, we get to graduate, we get our degrees, but at the end of it, we get to become business people. Like, there's this girl in TikTok, she calls herself Mama Mboga, and she has a degree that can get her work. So opportunities are closed for us. We don't have representation. And concerning about education, we are a public university. And sometimes we don't get all the social provision from our schools, and all they can say is they are not getting enough funding, and we are looking up to the government. We are not being catered for education-wise because the government is not there for us, is not giving us a position so that we can also grow and become people like them. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from Juliet.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juliet Osundwa. I'm the national chairperson of the ODM Young Captains. It is a caucus within the ODM Women League. So what I can say is that the government failed to meet its deadline. And when I heard what they were talking about yesterday, that the 10-point agenda is on track, I was shocked. I was surprised because everything has not been met. When you look at the cost of living, it's still high. We, the young women, we are affected. There is still unemployment. When you look at the human rights and security, the victims of June 2024, we were on streets with them. The justice has not been met. Justice delayed is justice denied, right? So I want to say that they have really messed with us, and the report we are having here, the report from the people, we are the people, and we are telling a different story. So another thing I would like to talk about, the other day I heard Senator being criticized that the team doesn't have women, and as a young woman, I heard him saying that he's protecting us from the tear gas and the chaos in the rallies. What I want to say is that we don't need protection. Yeah, so we want to be involved. Much.
Asante sana. I think the young women have been fantastic. What I was speaking about was the women leaders in parliament. That's why I was telling you, you can see the front row here is a bit heavy on suits. Let's hear from Abby here, and then we continue with the female session. I think we need to allow as many as the men who spoke to also...
Oh, thank you so much. And you know, Senator Sifuna, when they attempted to oust you, you stopped being the SG of ODM, you also became the SG of the people. Oh. You are wearing two hats.
Thank you.
And I also want to just tell the two ladies that have spoken before me that this team accommodates young women. I mean, you can see I'm here, a whole TikToker. I'm also a real estate consultant, and we are being given a voice to participate, interact, engage, and give ideas. And we'll continue growing this team. And we're also attending rallies, so tunakula hiyo tear gas, but sisi pia si waoga. I want to comment about what happened yesterday. Two things stood out for me. One, the president called a woman holding a very high office in this country a mad woman, because she wakes up every day and tells us what this government is doing in terms of theft and in terms of public funds loot. And that is Madam Nancy Gadongo. And so by calling her mad, alita wanawake wote wa hii country mad. So, as women of this country, we're also telling him, tutamuonyesha kuchizi ni nini. And we will do that by showing up, taking up our voters card, mobilizing, reminding women that we are the biggest voters in this country. And before these senior women can come and start telling them, wamama hoye, ati to support one of our own, we will remind these women how this government has failed women. When I say the president hates the women of this country, I mean it. In the same forum yesterday, we saw a whole elected governor begging for a comment on the two-third gender rule. What does that say? And the comment that he told her was, are you sure you want to say something? A subtle threat. I didn't take that lightly. I was like, hey? And even when he finished, he said, I want to take a vote. All those of the opinion, aye. All those of the contrary, he says, shut up. So what is he telling us, the young people and the women of this nation, that we have no right to talk, align, and hold them accountable? But what we are saying, Senator and the team for the Linda Wananchi, the young women of this nation are rallying behind you. They are silent, they are mounting themselves, they are organizing. We are waiting for the platform, Mr. SG. We will plug in, we will go, since mass voter registration is starting this year, tutaenda kwa ground venye tumekuwa tukienda, we will mobilize women, we will do civic education and tell them how this government has stolen from them, that they're not able to access quality health, how SHA has stolen from them, and how this government has continued to make us either beggars, widows, or mad people. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other lady from this side who wants to say something? Just put up your hand, please. Okay, this side. Yes, I can see the TikTok buddies want to say something. Who's starting? Okay.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Wavinya from Makueni, and I want to, poke holes on what happened yesterday. Being a voice of the PWD and young women in this country, we demand inclusion in most of those things that the government is talking about, and actually calling us fools. I just echo what my colleague has just said. He calls us fools. Anatuita wajinga, anatuita mad people. We are not mad, and I want to call every PWD in this country, I want to call upon every single lady in this country to go voice it out in our chamas, in our grassroots collections, in our areas, in our spaces where we govern and where we work. Let us tell everyone about the ill of this country, the ill that the government is, meting on us as the young people. So we are going to do that through the vote. Atutasema tu Ruto must go. This time we will take him home through the vote. So emergency water, please make sure you are armed with your vote, because it is your voice, and that is what will take Ruto home. Thank you.
Thank you. Just give the lady next to you.
Hamjambo wa Kenya wazalendo. I am Gen Z Badi, a teacher by profession, a young woman in politics, and a civic educator, uko social media. And I am live currently, and there's a comment that has just passed by Naimeni Shika. Amesema we need to talk about the solutions and not the problems. Because again, where attention goes, energy flows. And if we continue problems, alafu. And for me, I think now the solutions is action. Tumesikia stories sana, tumedanganyo, kuna mtu anasema Ruto rais, all the time. And all the time, tumesikiza lies sana. And I think now for the solution part, it's about action. Kenyans, we need to act. Gen Zs, we need to act. Leaders, we need to act. The government needs to act. You can't tell us to add you 60 more days for something you had 365 days and more to act on it. Unatuambia tukuongezea 60 days. Kwani anyway, another thing for the solution, change of regime. It's not only change of leadership. We need to change the regime. How things are done in this country. Tumechange leaders. Si tumechange. Things zinachange kikweli. It's time we change the regime. It's time we need a young person. We need a voice that will speak for us. Wewe unajua CS wajana ni 56 years old. 56 years old. Alafu niongelele mimi. We need to change how things are done in this country. Inclusivity. Niliona kwa 10-point agenda we were supposed to be included as the youths. Wakichagua ati CS, wakichagua PS, walikuwa wanafaa to include. But we have seen that political loyalty is something that comes first when elective positions are being done. Sindio? Watu wakikuwa nominated ni huyu alikuwa na mimi sana. So please, Senator and the Linda Mwananchi, choose your loyalists wisely. Usikubali ya class 2 dropout akwe loyal to you. Jusiju utampea nini? Thank you so much. Na kwa hiyo MOU, Senator, unge slide in ka Ruto must go. Sasa yangekuwa home. Jua somangi. Thanks.